He's been called a modern-day Ronald Reagan, a true conservative with bedrock beliefs and unshakable values. Sadly, Newt Gingrich was busy, so here instead is Michigan Congressman Thaddeus McCotter. He knows making law like I know making slaw. Love me that picnic dish.
Sure do.
Congressman, great to have you here. You look fantastic. Before we get to the serious issues, your Detroit Lions, a couple of weeks ago, they beat the Washington Redskins, who broke a 19-game losing streak. How excited were you about that?
Yeah, I was overjoyed and ecstatic. Thank you for reminding me. 1 out of 4, baby. On our way to the Super Bowl, I keep telling you. We also have my Tigers. My Tigers are playing the Minnesota Twins tonight, and I'm being constantly updated by our Minority Leader's Chief of Staff, Paula Nowakowski, as to developments. But one of the other developments that we've recently had, Greg, I believe you have obtained a picture of?
Yes, I have. Yeah. There it is.
Oh, wait a second.
Yeah. It's kind of, it's amazing. I don't know which is worse, sleeping with Letterman or the donkey.
In fairness to Mr. Letterman, I never filed a harassment charge against him. The donkey, on the other hand, all votes.
Hey, Congressman, you know the game, did you see the game? It was blacked out in the Detroit area because it didn't sell out. You think that's right?
Well, I think it's right. You have to be able to put your team on the field and have the fans come out and support it. We in Detroit understand that. And so it's a matter for the league. I think we have a lot of other things to discuss, Greg, that are far more salient to the vast majority of Americans.
No, I want to stay on this topic.
Says the guy who brought a picture of me with a donkey.
All right, let's move on to less important stuff, because that's what you want to do. President Obama had a photo op with 150 doctors and told them to bring their white coats. Some doctors forgot, and the White House had some already there and handed them out. Is this weird?
Well, it's weird because the last time we've seen this many lab coats on doctors huddled around something, they were trying to figure out what Bill had done to your meatloaf.
Yeah, he's very perceptive.
But is this what the healthcare debate has been reduced to? Dressing up doctors for a photo op? What has this world come to, my friend and Congressman?
Well, it's kind of like how TV has descended to dressing you up like Peter Tork in his velour shirt to get ratings, too. So culturally, it does tend to cut across the lines.
Yeah.
But what you're seeing in all seriousness, Greg, is they will take doctors who supported the president in the past, and now they will put them forward as if they are the rule, when in fact they are the exception to the rule. And I think people understand that. And I don't see how this would be just positive on someone who thinks that this bill is not in their best interest in terms of their long-term health care is all of a sudden going to see a reprise of the Beatles' Butcher cover and change their mind.
Yeah. You know, but I got to go back to my one question. White coats, why do we have to be so racist?
I'm pretending I didn't hear you.
You know, it actually worked. Keith Olbermann, a good friend of yours, is going to deliver an hour-long special comment on health care, I guess on Friday. Will you be watching it, and where?
No, I'll be watching Red Eye, as I always do.
We are on different times, but I like what you said anyway. A couple of your Republican...
You make no pretense to sanity.
Yeah, I know that. A couple of your fellow Republican congressmen are circulating a petition to get Congress to post bills online 72 hours before they're voted on. And this would obviously include a health care reform bill. But the House Democratic leadership is opposing this. Why?
Well, you'd have to ask them. I do agree that it should take 72 hours before we pass something that gives the members the time to read it, it gives the public the time to read it, and it gives your staff time to read it to you.
Yeah, that's true. You know I wouldn't read it anyway. But you know, I'd be really outraged if my leadership didn't. I'd go, how dare you not read this? Of course, I wouldn't read it either. Just a thought.
Well, as you remember, Greg, this administration gave the American people an incredibly wonderful backhanded compliment when they said that they wanted to run this bill before July, get it all done before the American people had a chance to read it. That was the administration's way of saying that the American people are smart enough to read bills, understand how they affect them, and be able to express their views to their members of Congress to either support something or oppose it. And I think that the 72 hour is absolutely critical, because if we've seen in the past where the misuse of this, passing bills that even members haven't read, and the unexpected and unforeseen consequences that have arisen, like AIG bonuses and the stimulus, what people want is to know what their government is doing. They want to play a true role and participate in it, and I think that's very healthy for our free republic.
I agree completely with that. I actually wrote that answer for him. Congressman, I want to lastly, Politico is reporting that Greg Craig, he's a top in-house lawyer for President Obama, he's going to take the fall for this Gitmo stuff, the fact that Gitmo's not being closed in January. They say he may even lose his job, according to Politico. We don't know. Does that seem fair?
No, I think that you have to go back to the campaign and remember that the then candidate Obama had said that he wanted to close Guantanamo, and people asked for specifics. They were not forthcoming. He then reiterated that after his inauguration. But people have known for quite some time that this is not something you can simply snap your fingers and relocate these detainees somewhere in the United States or elsewhere. And I also think, Greg, that in addition to the failure to understand the complicated nature of what Guantanamo is and why it needs to be there rather than, say, next door to you or someone you love, the reality is this is not a criminal law enforcement matter. This is a martial matter. These terrorists and these detainees are about trying to destroy the United States, diminish our interests in the world, and that separates it from your run-of-the-mill criminality.
Yeah, you know, the last word for me, during the campaign, these people in Gitmo were poor, innocent victims, and now, after he's president, they're actually evil people. Welcome to the club, President Obama. Congressman, great job as always. Love having you here, and I'm digging the vest jacket combo. All right, if you have a comment on the show, email us. It's redeye@foxnews.com.